Good morning to all. Myself, Manoj Kumar Bundela, Assistant Professor, Suresh Gyan Vihar University, Jaipur. So today we will discuss the methods of training and pruning in fruit crops. So what do you mean by training? Training means giving a particular shape and size to the plant so that the plants will be adopt the natural environmental conditions like easily the air will pass across the plants. We will reduce the load of the plants. Training can be defined as an operation to shape and adapt the fruit plant to a specific form so that they can function more efficiently or effectively. So we will give the shape to the plants so that the plants will work more efficiently and effectively. Objective of the training: strong the tree framework. If we go for training, it will make the plant stem hard, means hard, so that it will make it a framework, more strong framework it will make. Facilitate the management. Easily we can do whatever the management practices there, like harvesting of the fruits and applying of the fertilizers, applying of the any pesticides, that everything we can do easily. Harvest sunlight efficiently. Efficiently we can harvest the fruits. Facilitate the sufficient movement of air across the plant. With the help of this, the air will easily pass from the fruit plant. Maintain the productivity. So training will increase the productivity. What happens if you do not train? So if we not go for training to the plant, the less sunlight penetration. The plants have the more canopy. Due to the more canopy, the less light will be penetrate inside the branches. Poor spray coverage. So like this is there in this, if we spray the any chemical, so it will be spray outside only. It will not go inside. So poor spray coverage. It will not cover the complete plant area. More difficult to manage. So it is very difficult to manage. If you go for harvesting also, it is very difficult to harvesting of the fruits. Faster growth. So if the more number of branches are there, then the growth will be fast. Earlier fruiting. So if number of fruits are more number of branches are there, the number of fruits are also more. The number of fruits are more, then the fruitings will be start early, and the maturation of the fruits will be start early. So that is the effect if we not give the training to the plant. Training system. The first one is center leader system. This system of training is adopted in such type of fruit crop which have a pronounced apical dominance. Normally the fruit crops they have the apical dominance, and which have the pronounced apical dominance in that crop we have to follow the center leader system. Center leader system means the main stem, the central portion of the plants will be allowed to grow continuously. That's why it is called as center leader system. The main trunk grow undisturbed, means the main trunk is grow undisturbed on account of vigorous and rapid growth of the main trunk. The tree develops a closed center and grow to the great height. These side branches remain more or less shaped, and consequently they would be lower in vigor and productivity. The side branches remain more or less shaped, and consequently they would be lower in vigor and productivity. Since the plants would be very tall, so in central leader system the plants will be grow continuously. So plants will be very tall. The spraying and harvesting operations become difficult. The plant will grow continuously, so it is very tall. So we can spraying of any chemicals, spraying or any growth regulators, and harvesting of the fruits is very difficult, and it is becoming very costly. The pear Soma variety of apple, plum, apricot, cherry, walnut and peanut. So in this normally we follow the center leader system. The height of the plant is so much in center leader system. Second one is open center system. In this system, the main stem is allowed to grow only up to a certain height by heading within a year of planting and all the subsequent vegetative growth promoted by the central branches. In open center system, what we have to do, the main stem will be allowed to grow for a certain height. Means when the height of the main stem will reach a certain height, that time we will cut the main stem and we will allow the subsequent side branches. The lateral branches will be grow. In contrast to the center leader system, open center system allow sunshine to be equally distributed to all the branches. So in open center system, the main stem, the middle stem we have to cut. So what will happen? It will allow the all sunlight, means whatever the sunlight will come, that will be equally distributed to the all branches. But in center leader system, they are not distributed. They are only outside they are there. The open center drained plants are more fruitful. Residues greatly facilitates the operation like spraying, thinning and harvesting. So in open center system, we can go for spraying of the chemical, easily we can go for thinning and harvesting is easy in case of open center system. Example, open center system is followed in peach. So in case of peach, we have to follow the open center system. So this one is the center leader system. In center leader, center portion will be grow continuously. This one is the open center system. So open center system, the central portion we have to cut and we will allow the side branches. This is called as open center system. Modified leader system. This system stands intermediate between the center leader and the open center. The combining advantage of both the system. The center leader system and open center system, the combination of both is called as modified leader system. It is developed first by training the tree to the leader type, allowing the central stem to grow unsharped for the fruit 4 to 5 years. Up to 4 to 5 years, we will allow the central stem will be grow continuously. The main branches are allowed to arise on the main stem at a reasonable interval. So the main branches are allowed to rise on the main stem at a reasonable interval. Means at a particular time, we have to allow the main stem to grow. After the required number of branches has arisen, the main stem is cut. So whatever the side branches we have to require, when the all branches will come, that time we have to remove the main stem. Starting only we not remove the main stem. First we allow the side branches will be reached to the height of the main stem. Then we have to cut the main stem. The top lateral will take the place of main stem. The top lateral will take the place of main stem. The result in a fairly strong and moderately spreading type of stress. It is mainly followed in pear, apple and walnut. Modified ladder system, it is followed in apple, pear and walnut. This is the system you can see. This is the modified ladder system. In this way, it will allow a particular height. After that, we will cut the main stem. The open center system, the center system will be open. When they attain a particular height, we have to remove the main stem. That is center ladder system. This is center leader system. Center leader system is top view. If we see the in top, the center leader system will be look like this in top portion. Open center system will be look like this in side view like this, and top view it will be looks like this. Pruning. Pruning means just judicious removal of plant part to control the shape, size and fruit load. So pruning means we have to remove the plant parts like branches we have to remove. But in training, we have to remove the branches to give the shape to the plants. But in case of pruning, we have to remove the branches to reduce the plant load or to reduce the means sometimes there is a attack of some disease and pest on a particular branch. So we have to remove the disease affected plant parts or plant branches we have to remove. So judicial removal of plant parts to control the shape, size and fruit load. So this normally we will do when the plant attain a particular height, particular branches will come, that time we have to do. In tanning we have to start from first only. Objective of the pruning: to overcome the apical dominance and it will encourage the lateral branches. So if we go for pruning means it will overcome the apical dominance and encourage the lateral branches, remove the overcrowded and unproductive branches. In pruning, what we have to do, we have to remove the overcrowded and unproductive branches, remove the disease and dead woods. Any woods which are affected by a disease or the dead woods we have to remove, unproductive branches we have to remove, increase the vegetative growth, we have to allow the plant to grow vegetative more, control the tree size, regulate the fruiting, control the tree size, regulate the fruiting. If the fruit load are more, then we have to remove the fruits branches also, that is called as fruit pruning we have to do. Balance between the vegetative and reproductive phase. With the help of pruning, we will make the balance between the vegetative phase and the reproductive phase. Physiological responses. Alternate relationship of the plant part. So if the increase in the root to shoot ratio, the active new growths will be increased. If the root to shoot ratio is more, the active new growths will be more. That is the relationship between the pruning and flowering. The severe shoot pruning, there is a more vegetative growth. If you go for severe shoot pruning, then there is a more vegetative growth. Root pruning will encourage the flowering or more productive. If we go for root pruning means it will encourage the flowering and more productive. If we go for shoot pruning means it will give the more vegetative growth. CN ratio. Shoot pruning is lowers the CN ratio in vegetative crops. Shoot pruning, if you go for shoot pruning, it will lower the CN ratio in vegetables. In root pruning, it will increase the CN ratio in flowers. So root pruning means increase the CN ratio in flowers, and in vegetative growth it will reduce the CN ratio. Modification of apical dominance. It will modify the apical dominance. Pruning techniques. Heading back refers to the cut back the terminal portion of the branch to a bud. Heading back means we have to cut the terminal portion, like this is the terminal portion of the plant. So this terminal portion we have to remove, that is called as heading back. Thinning out refers to the complete removal of branch to a lateral or main trunk. So from the main trunk, the side branches we have to remove. We have to remove the lateral branches, that is called as thinning out. Heading back means the top portion we have to remove, and thinning out means the side branches we have to remove. So this is all about the training and pruning in fruit growth. So training is normally followed to give a particular shape and size to the plant. So if we give to the shape and size to the plants, we will get the more yield, we will get the more production, we can spray the chemicals easily, and it will help to the plant will grow healthy, because the sunlights will be available to the all parts of the plants. Whatever chemicals we are applying, that everything available to the plant. The training are three types: open center system, center leader system, and modified center system. In center leader system, we have to allow the main branch to grow continuously. That is called as center leader system. Open center system means when a plant attain a particular height, that time we have to remove the outer upper portion and we will allow the side branches. That is called as open center system. And modified center leader system means we will allow the main stem will also grow and side branches will also grow. When the side branches will be attain a particular height up to the main stem, that time we have to remove the main stem also. Next is pruning. So pruning means giving a shape and size. Pruning means normally we have to remove the disease affected plant branches, or if the fruit load are more than the fruit branches we have to remove. So we have to remove the disease affected and fruit load branches. So pruning is normally two types: heading back and thinning out. Next is orchard management. What you mean by orchard? So orchard is a long-term investment and need lots of planning and expertise. While planning and planting a new orchard, one should give the utmost attention and care to various aspects like selection of location and site. Whenever we go for establishment of any orchard, first we have to go for selection of location and site, natures of soil and subsoil, nature of soil and subsoil, planning of suitable kinds and varieties of fruits. We have to go for planting of suitable kinds of varieties and fruits. Proper planting distance. We have to maintain a proper planting distance whenever we go for orchard establishment. Purchasing of plants from the reliable nurseries. So whatever the plants we have to use when establishment of the orchard, that we have to select from a reliable nursery, means good nursery we have to select. Because sometime what will happen, we select the plant without know the varieties and characteristics of that particular plant. And when the flowering will be start, the fruiting will be start, that time we came to know that this is not the variety that we are purchased. So after 3 years or after 4 years, we came to know in fruit plants. So it is that wasting of time. So we have to purchase the plants from a reliable nurseries. Preparation of land: the land should be cleaned properly for free movement of men and machineries. All the trees, bushes and creepers should be removed. All the trees, bushes and creepers should be removed. The soil of the area designed for growing fruit plants need through the preparation. A virgin land required a deep plowing and harrowing. Whatever the land we have to select, virgin land we have to select. The land required a deep plowing and harrowing. The land should be repeatedly plowing and bring the soil to a fine tilt. Means till the it will reach to the fine tilt. Till that we have to go for continuously. Layout of the layout plan. For marking of the position of the plant in the field is referred as layout. Marking the position of the plant in the field is known as referred as layout. The layout plan of the orchard should be prepared carefully, preferably in the cons- consultation with horticultural experts. So whenever we go for layout of the plant, layout of the land, then we have to take one horticultural expert, because we have to carefully we have to go for layout of the plant field. The orchard layout plan includes the system of planting, provision of orchard paths, roads, water channels and farm buildings. A sketch of the proposed orchard should be prepared before the actual planting is taken up. Means before we have to go for actual planting, we have to prepare one sketch, and after that we will go for planting. Methods of layout. For laying out an orchard according to the square system, a baseline is first established, and position of the tree is marked along with the line by laying the wooden stakes in the ground. Another baseline of the right angle of the first baseline, means right angle of the first baseline, we have to prepare the one another baseline is then marked along with the other edge of the field with the help of carpenter's square or the cross staff. The right angle can also be drawn with the help of measuring tape. With the help of measuring tape, we have to draw the right angle. One end of this tape is fixed at 3 meter distance from the corner along with the first line, and the tape is then sticked along the second baseline for a distance of 4 meter. The diagonal distance between the three 2 points These points should be 5 meter. Diagonal distance we have to maintain 5 meter. The wooden stakes are put in the ground at the desired distance along the second line. All the 4 rows are thus established and stacked. 3 men, one putting the peg in the field and other correcting the alignment while moving along the baseline, and can easily stake the whole field. The marking of the position of the plant in the field is called as layout. So layout means marking of the position of the plant in the field is known as layout. Next is different systems. So first one is square system. Square system is most commonly used. So square system. It is the most commonly used method and easy to lay out in the field. The most commonly used method, and it will be easily we can go for layout. In the in this system, the plant to plant and row to row distance is same. This is a plant to plant distance and row to row distance is same in square system. The plants are attain the right angle to each other. Every unit of the 4 plants forming a square. This system facilitates the intercultural is two direction after the orchard is planted. So normally it is in two directions. The most easy and popular method, the square system is a very easy and popular method. In this, row to row and plant to plant distance is kept similar. Row to row distance and plant to plant distance is similar. Plants are exactly at right angle of each other. So whatever the plants we have to grow, they are exactly right angle to each other. Intercultural operation can be done in both the direction. In both direction we can go for intercultural operations. The adequate space for the intercultivation of remunerative crops like vegetables. So in interspace we can grow the vegetable crops. Then we can grow the vegetable crop in the interspace. So in case of square system, how we calculate the number of plants in square system? So the formula is area by spacing. So like is area in square system, the row to row spacing and plant to plant spacing is same. If the total area is 1 hectare and the spacing is 5 meter into 5 meter, then the number of spacing is 10 meter into 10 meter, then the number of plants will be 100. Means 10,000 divided by 10 into 10. So 10 meter into 10 meter is 100. So 10,000 divided by 100, so the total number of plants will be 100. Rectangular system. In this system, the plot is divided into rectangles instead of square. Instead of square, we have to divide the plot into the rectangular. The trees are planted at the four corners of the rectangle in straight row running at right angle. So trees are planted like same like a square system. Trees are planted on the four corners of the rectangle. Like square system, this system also facilitates the intercultural in two directions. So in two direction we can go for intercultural operation in rectangular system also. The only difference is that in this system more plants can be accommodated in the row, keeping more space between the row. So in rectangular system, the number of plants are more as compared to the square system. Layout is in rectangular shape. So normally the layout we have to do in rectangular shape. More space between the row to row. Row to row space is more in this. Intercultural operation can be done in both the direction and plants get proper space and sunlight. So in this, like if the row to row spacing is 10, then plant to plant spacing is only 5. So 10 into 5 we have to do. So 10,000 divided by 10 into 5, 10,000 divided by 50. So like this, the number of plants will be more in rectangular system, 125 number of plants. Hexagonal system. In hexagonal system, the trees are planted in a corner of the equilateral triangle. So we have to prepare the equilateral triangle, and in that equilateral triangle, in corner we have to grow the plants. The 6 trees thus they form a hexagon with another tree at in the center. 6 tree we have to grow in hexagon and 1 tree at the center. This system, though a little difficult to execute, but accommodates the 15% more plants as compared to the square system. So in hexagonal system, the 15% more plants are there as compared to the square system. The cultivation of land between the tree row is possible in 3 directions with this system. This system is generally followed where the land is coastly and very fertile with ample provision of irrigation water. So normally this hexagonal system normally we use in case of where we have to follow the hexagonal system. Normally we follow in the soil where the generally follow where the land is coastly and very fertile with ample provision of irrigation water. The accommodates 15% more plants than the square system. In hexagonal system, it has a 15% more plant than the square system. The plants are planted at the corner of equilateral triangle. Normally, the plants are planted at the corner of equilateral triangle. The 6 trees are planted making a hexagon. In this, the 6 trees are planted and they will make a hexagon. The 7th tree is planted in the center, that is called as septule. This required fertile land. In this, it required the fertile land. Quinix system. This system is exactly like the square system, but one additional tree is planted in the center of the each square. So we have to make the square, and each square center we have to plant one tree. That is called as the number of plants per acre by this system is almost doubled than the square system. The number of plants per acre by the this system. The fruit trees like papaya, quinoa, falsa, guava, peach, plum can be planted as a filler plant. So in middle we have to plant. In quinix system it is same as square system, but where more plants are planted in middle, that is called as filler plant. So the number of plants will be more in quinix system. So quinix system is normally follow in case of falsa, quinoa, guava, peach, plum in this group. So in this is a square system. All plants are planted in middle, one more plant are planted, that's why it is called as square system. Contour system. This system is usually followed in the hilly areas with high slopes, but it is difficult, very much similar to the square and rectangular system. Under such circumstances, the tree may be well planted in the lines following the contour of the soil with only a slight slope. So contour system is mainly followed in hilly areas. The irrigation and cultivation are then practiced only across the slope of the land, as this practice reduces the chance of soil erosion. In this system, the layout is done as is in square and rectangular system, first by establishment the baseline at the lowest level, and then marking for the trees should be done from the base to the top. The bench terrace are used where the slope is greater than 10%. So normally we will prepare the bench terrace if the slope is greater than 10%. So contour system, it is mainly used in hilly areas. It is similar in case of square system. And if we go for contour system in hilly areas, the tall plants we have to grow. So if they will reduce the soil erosion. Next is methods of sowing. Sowing method is determined by the crop to be shown. There are 6 sowing methods which differs in their merits, demerit, adoption. Those are broadcasting, broad or line sowing, dibbling, transplanting, planting, putting the seeds behind the plough. Broadcasting. It is scattering of the seeds by hand all over the prepared field, followed by covering with wooden plank or harrow for contact of the seeds with soil. The crop like wheat, paddy, sesame, methi, coriander, directly we will go for broadcasting. So in broadcasting, it required the more number of seeds it required, and normally in case of wheat, paddy and bajra and all, we have to go for broadcasting. After broadcasting, we will cover the seeds with the help of, we can use the wooden plank we can use, or with the help of harrow we will cover the seeds. Advantage: the quickest and cheapest methods. Broadcasting is quickest and cheapest method. The skilled labor is not uniform. Implementation is not required, followed in most conditions, and it is a very easy methods of seed sowing, broadcasting. Directly we have to broadcast the seed in the field. Disadvantage: seed requirement is more. Disadvantage: seed requirement is more. Crop stand is not uniform, result in gappy germination. Crop stand is not uniform, there in the gappy germination. Defective: where the adequate moisture is not present in the soil. So we have to go for broadcasting of the soil. So where the moisture is available, there the more number of plants will develop. Where the moisture is not available, there the plants will not germinate. And sometimes what will happen in one place, if the number of seeds are more, the number of plants will more germinate in one place. In some place there is no germination. So this is the major problem in case of broadcasting. We will not get the uniform planting in this. Spacing is not maintained within the row and lines, hence interculturing is difficult. Drilling or line sowing. It is dropping of seeds into the soil with the help of implement such as mogha, seed drill or seed cum fertilizer driller, or mechanical seed drill, and then the seeds are covered by wooden plank or harrow to have a contact between the seed and the soil. So drilling or line sowing, normally line sowing is done with the help of drillers we have to use. So seed drill we have to use, this is the seed drill, and that seed drill, with the help of seed drill we have to sow the seeds like this. All time they are using this. So mogha seed drill, seed cum fertilizer drill or mechanical seed drill we can use. Then it will show the seeds and cover it by the soil. The crops like jowar, wheat, bajra, in these crops normally we will use the driller or line sowing method. Advantage: seed are placed at a proper uniform depth. In this, seed are placed in proper and uniform depth along the row. The intercultural can be done. Along with the row, we can go for intercultural also. Uniform row to row spacing is maintained. In this, we have to maintain the uniform row to row spacing. The seed requirement is less than broadcasting. So in drilling method, the seed requirement is less than the broadcasting. Sowing is done at a proper moisture level. At a proper moisture level, we have to go for sowing. Disadvantage: it required the implement for sowing. Web's condition is must. Plant to plant intra-row spacing is not maintained. In this, we have to not maintain the intra-row spacing. Plant to plant spacing we will not maintain. Row to row spacing only we have to maintain. Skilled person is required for the sowing. So for this, A skilled labor person is required for the sowing. Dibbling. It is the placing or dibbling of the seeds at cross marks made in the field with the help of makers as per the requirements of the crop in both the direction. So in this what we have to do dibbling method, we have to make the cross mark, and in that cross mark we have to show the seeds. It is done manually by dibblers. This method is followed in the crops like groundnut, castor, cotton, which are having the bold size and high value. The size of the seed is big and it has the more value, means the seeds are very costly. In that case, we have to follow the dibbling method. We have to dip the seeds into the field. One seeds we have to show in the field. Advantage: spacing between the row to row and plant to plant is maintained in dibbling. Seeds can be dibbled and at a desired depth in the moisture zone. Seeds are dibbled at a desired depth in a moisture zone. The optimum plant population can be maintained. We can maintain the optimum plant population in this. Seed requirement is less than the other methods. It requires the less number of seeds as compared to the other method, because one seeds we are sowing. So it requires the less number of seeds. Implement is not required for sowing. An intercrop can be taken in wider spaced crop. In wider spaced crop are there, then we can take the intercrop also in this. Cross-wise intercultivation is possible. Crop-wise we have to go for intercultivation is possible in this. Disadvantage: laborious and time-consuming method. It is a laborious, it requires a more number of labors and it will consume the time. The requirement required more labors, hence increase the cost of cultivation. It required the more number of labors. If the more labors will come, then it will increase the cost of cultivation. Only high value and bold seeds are sown. High value the seeds which have more price in the market, and their bold side seeds only we have to show. Require the strict supervision. We have to go for supervision of the crop strictly. Next is transplanting. This is raising of seedlings on a nursery bed and transplanting of seedlings in the laid out field. For this, seedlings are allowed to grow on a nursery bed for about 3 to 5 weeks. The beds are watered one day before the transplanting of nursery to prevent the jerk or the roots damage. The field is irrigated before the actual transplanting to get the seedling established early and quickly, which reduce the mortality. Besides the advantage and disadvantage of dibbling, the method are initial cost of cultivation of the crop can be saved, but the requires the due care in nurseries. This method is followed in crops like paddy, fruits, vegetable crops, and tobacco. So transplanting method, normally transplanting method is followed in the some many crops like vegetables and all, we have to follow the transplanting method. In this method, first we have to prepare the nursery and then we will go for transplanting of the nursery into the main field. So while the preparation of the nursery, what we have to do, we have to prepare the raised bed. The height of the bed is 15 to 20 centimeter. After that, in that bed, we have to make the lines. In that lines, we have to sow the seeds. So that is called as line sowing. In line sowing, we have to sow the seeds. After sowing of the seeds in lines, we have to cover the seeds with the help of vermicompost or with the help of soil. We have to cover the seeds and we apply the water continuously. After some time, after 15 to 20 days, after 7 days, the seeds will start germinate, and in the seeds will start germinate. Then there is a major problem in the nursery is damping off. So to control the damping off, we can spray the carbendazim or we can use the Captone or Thyron 3 gram per liter of water. We will mix and we will spray into the nursery so that we can control the damping off. So after that, when the after 30 to 45 days, the nursery is ready to transplanting into the main field. When the nursery is attained, 15 to 20 centimeter height, that time we will go for transplanting into the main field. Or 4 to 6 leaf stage, we will transplant the nurseries from nursery to the main field. After transplant, during the time of transplanting, we have to take care that if any plant is damaged, we have to wait for the 7 days. Within 7 days, if all plants will not establish in the main field, if any plants is get damaged, so we have to go for replanting into the main field. So this is the common procedure we have to follow in case of transplanting method. Planting: it is the placing of vegetative part of the crop which are vegetatively propagated in the laid out field. Like tubers of potato, mother sets of ginger and turmeric, cutting of sweet potato and grapes, sets of sugarcane. So these are used for the planting. Means vegetative parts we have to use for the planting purpose. So vegetatively propagated crops, like we can use the tubers in case of potato vegetative, mother sets of turmeric, ginger and turmeric we use the mother sets, cutting in sweet potato and grapes and sets in sugarcane. Putting the seed behind the plow. This is the dropping of the seed behind the plow in the furrow with the help of manual labors or by hand. With the help of manual labors or by the hand, we have to sow the seeds behind the plow. This method is followed for the crops like grams in some area for the better utilization of moisture stays. This putting the seeds behind the plow, it is normally followed in case of grams in some areas for the better utilization of soil moisture. These seeds are covered by successive furrows opened by the plow. This method is commonly followed for sowing of the crop. So seed behind the plow, this method is also used for the some crops. So these are the different methods of sowing. So the major methods of sowing is broadcasting. So it is very costliest method. It requires the more number of seeds. Broad or line sowing. In this also we have to sow the seeds in line with the help of drill. Mechanical drillers we can use. With the help of drillers we have to sow the seed. In dibbling means one seeds we have to take and we will dibble with one seeds we have to sow. So in this is mainly used for the costless seeds and the size of the seeds are big. In that we have to go for dibbling method of planting. Next, transplanting. So when the seed size is very small, in that case we have to prepare the nursery. Then we go for transplanting into the main field. That is transplanting method. Planting method. So planting method normally we use in vegetatively propagated crops, like in tubers we can use, in potatoes, suckers we can use, or combs we can use. These are the different planting materials we use for the different crop. Putting the seeds behind the plow. So in this, first we have to prepare the plow, and behind that plow we have to put the seeds. That is called as putting the seeds behind the plow. And method of planting, so different method of planting we have to use. That is called as square system, rectangular system, hexagonal system, conic system, and contour system. The highest number of plants will becomes under the hexagonal system. In conic system, it is same as square system. One more plant is there in middle, that is called as filler plant. In hexagonal system, 15% more plants as compared to the square system. In rectangular system and square system, the square system the number of plants are more as compared to the square system. And tanning and pruning, that we are already discussed. So this is all about the today's class. So we discussed the three topics in today's class. Thank you all.